Greetings and blessings, guys. This is yours truly, Empress Chassie Warmington, aka All That Chaz, aka the Slayer. Thank you all so much for watching and tuning in. For those who are or can, for those who can't, hopefully you can catch it later. But I do want to give my shouts out first and acknowledgments to my sponsor who actually provides cosmetics for me, eyeshadow, blush, rouge, lip glosses, and that is going to be Feisty by Wisdom Cosmetic. Also, a sponsor that I have to greatly apologize to is Deeper Entertainment. Please forgive me, Deeper Entertainment. Deeper Entertainment has been supporting me and sponsoring me for several years. We do sponsor each other, and they have been there for me through thick and thin all this time. So I do want to give a big shout out to them. Big shout out to all my supporters, to everybody who have signed my petition, everybody who supports me in my Gloves On campaign, and everything that I'm doing to try to help the world be a better place. Thank you so much. Let me adjust this light, guys. I didn't realize it was that high up, but I better adjust it. So yeah, bear with me. I got my little puffs, little balls in my head and stuff. But yeah, thank you guys so much for supporting. Thanks to everybody who's watching, who takes out the time to watch, to like, to share, to comment, anything that you guys are doing to show any type of support and interact with me in any sort of way, form, or fashion. I greatly do appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. We're going to go ahead. We're going to talk about the myths about anxiety and depression because a lot of times, as I was stating, a lot of people they just go by what they think they know and what they've heard and what somebody's told them, but they never have thoroughly done any type of research nor worked in that particular situation or been worked in that field and or been in that situation themselves and experienced it. So they just pretty much just go by hearsay and their own opinion about it. One thing about anxiety, I actually battle both anxiety and depression. I also battle post-traumatic stress disorders. Those are called mental health issues. They are not mental illnesses. Mental illnesses comes when a person is more like psychoschizophrenic, bipolar, a sociopathological, those type of extreme narcissistic behaviors. That's mental illnesses. Mental health is no different than a person with physical health issues that occurs and needs to be treated through medication and or diet. So I'm just going to give you guys a little background on my situation. um, I never really understood what depression was. I heard the word, it was thrown around when I was growing up, but I really didn't understand what depression was. And I didn't realize that for most of my life, majority of my life, I was depressed. My depression, I believe, started when my dad died. I think that was the beginning of my depression because things really, and it bothers me a lot of times when I have to talk about these things because I always have to go back and reflect, on my upbringing and things that I experienced from my childhood. And even though, yes, I know I'm not a child anymore, but I still have, before I could even identify what was going on with me and understand it, other things was happening that was adding on to it. So I was in a routine of just, as they say, you just roll with the punches, you go with the flow type attitude, not realizing that at the time that there is something that I can actually do about, being depressed. There's things that I could do about um, having anxiety, having post traumatic stress disorder. But at the time, I didn't know that I also had anxiety and post traumatic stress disorder because, again, I was not educated on these things. I wasn't taught this as a child. What we were taught is, you were just retarded or you were just crazy. That's the thing. And you had a lot of people in your own family, and it's sad to say that, but you had people in your own family that will put you down and degrade you just because somebody else in the family would, put you down and degrade you. And it's kind of like a tag team, like because this person is degrading you and talking about you, then we're going to talk about you too. And it became where it was a bullying situation, to be honest with you. So I was bullied a lot by my own family, and I'm just going to be put it out there. And I was degraded a lot by my own family and also religion and you know so-called pastors, ministers, people, even in on the work when I became old enough to work, dealing with abuse, employee abuse from former employers and stuff. So I went through a lot of abuse in so many different facets, and because at the time I was not educated or not aware that I was going through those things, um, I was an easy target. And so I didn't know how to defend myself from those things because I didn't know that they existed in me and that I was experiencing these things. So in the course of that, I started just becoming more depressed to the point where by the time I was like, let me just go back before I even became an adult. I was so depressed that I had tried to commit suicide, and I think I was only 12 years old at the time. That was the first time I started trying to commit. I attempted to commit suicide, and then after that, the depression was so bad and so aggressive um, that it wasn't being treated. Um, because I mean, I just have to say from my own experience, I can't speak for nobody else, but for my own experience, religion, going to church never helped me. It actually made it way worse. It made it extremely worse, where I was literally chronically, psychologically, and mentally, spiritually, emotionally ill, and spiritually ill, and sick, and nobody was knowing it. And you can read the Bible all you want, you can speak in tongues over, shout over it. A lot of people do that. It's like they're living in denial and living in delusion. And I was actually doing that and didn't realize at the time because not being educated in mental illnesses, I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. I thought that I was doing the opposite. But come to find out, I was not doing the opposite. I was actually, uh-oh, I'm sorry, guys. I was actually, giving into those things. And it was just like something had to give, and I didn't understand what was going on with me. And it was really hard for me to manage it and even accept it once I did become old enough to understand and start learning about mental illnesses, mental health. I'm sorry, mental health issues. Because for the longest as a child, and like I said, even in my own family, I was always bullied. I was always the bra of their jokes, the person that they decided to, start to just pick on all the time. I was like their main attraction. It's kind of like how back in the days of slavery, how they took the dark skinned melanin women and they used them as circus attractions, especially if they had like really huge butts and stuff. So I was treated that way, and I just going to be realistic about it. Because of the color complexion of my skin, even though there were other people in my family that had my skin complexion for whatever reason, I was the one that they decided that they were going to start picking on and start calling all kind of degrading names and calling crazy and just mocking and being disrespectful to. Um, and so, these are people doing this, both children and adults in my family. And the children were doing it because they saw the adults do it. The adults did correct the children when they were doing it because they were participating in it. So it was just a crazy situation um, for me growing up. Hey, Terry, Kendall, thanks for watching. And so I grew up as a child um, being dealing with a lot of psychological and emotional abuse on top of the physical abuse. And it was never, nobody was ever dealing with it. It was always, oh, give it to God, oh, pray about it. And that was not what I needed. I was, really destitute and I was extremely vulnerable and I really needed true help, but I did not get the help that I needed. Um, I remember though one time a couple of times, my mom did try to take me to counseling, but it did not work because with me being the youngest child, it's a lot of discrimination because the psychiatrist or the therapist or whatever do not listen to you as a child. What they do is they go by what the parent says and what the older sibling says. And when you have two or three more people saying the exact same thing about you, then it's hard for them to believe that what they're saying is not true. But what they failed to realize, and what from my experience, what these so-called counselors and therapists were doing is they were completely ignoring me as a child when I'm telling them, look, I've always been picked on. They always treat me bad. I'm like, even like while we were even inside of being counseled of the counseling session, one of my sibling was being very aggressive and was always over talking me, interrupting me. I couldn't even state my part. And nobody, I didn't have nobody to defend me. In other words, so I was just literally out there alone. So going through all of these different things and then just pretty much trying to aimlessly find my way through life. A lot of stuff that was going on with me as a child, being very chronically and deeply depressed, and not knowing that I was very deeply depressed and going through a lot of trauma. I was also dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder as a child as well, and again did not understand or know these things until I became an adult. And I'm going to tell you what really got me became when I became more aware of this is I was probably like 27 because I was pregnant with my son, and going through the post when I was reading about the pregnancy and stuff, I started reading things about postpartum depression. And then I started finding out other things about depression, anxiety, hypertension. I started learning these different things, these different terms. And as I was doing my research, because I was like, wow, I'm having some of these, I've been having these symptoms, some of these same symptoms and feelings for pretty much as long as I can remember from being a child. Um, and I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand why I would get really nervous. Like I had a really intense nervousness. Came to find out it wasn't nervousness, it was anxiety, hyperventilating and stuff. And I used to have a lot of anxiety. Well, I won't even say used to, I still have anxiety attacks, but at least now I know when they're coming on. And I know to do breathing exercises, to do meditations, and it's a 50% chance it will work and a 50% chance it doesn't work without, resorting to, maybe like doing sage or lavender, chamomile, because those things can help calm your anxiety from flaring up. Stop, little boy, my rabbit. Excuse me, because he's doing too much. Stop, little fat self. Let me get this cord. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. Little boy, stop. You better behave, little fat self. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, but I didn't understand what was going on with me. So, um, as once I became pregnant though with my son, that's when I really started researching and learning about mental health. And then it just so happened I moved to, I was living in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, on the base, and they have like a lot of mental hospitals up there. Well, I won't say a lot of mental hospitals, but they have places for a lot of people who has they have like a lot of drug rehabs and places, they deal with a lot with mental illnesses, people who have mental illnesses and mental health issues. So I just started really learning a lot about why I respond the way I respond to things, and why I would shut down and have like this overwhelming feeling of, it's not necessarily just fear. I just be feeling overwhelmed, ex- um like overpowered and overly consumed. And I didn't understand what that was until I started learning about mental health issues, and then I started learning about anxiety. And so I started learning that the anxiety wasn't just built up because of something negative. I discovered that with anxiety can also, that's the biggest myth about anxiety. A lot of people think anxiety only comes from something negative, but it doesn't. You can be in a car accident, or you can have an accident on your job or something, and it can um, shake your antibodies up. It can throw your nerves off, and it can cause you to have those kind of issues. So you can get certain type of chronic illnesses or diseases that can cause you to have anxiety as well, because of you not thinking that your body is stressed, but your body can become stressed and you're not even aware of it, and then that would create anxiety. So anxiety, I discovered that it's not all, you don't always get it because of something bad. In my case, I did get it because of something negative, but I also discovered that you can get it because of something good. Like some people, when they get really excited in a good way, like say for somebody buy them a brand new car, and it's the car they dreams. They always wanted that car. Someone buy them that car, they could get overtaken by anxiety because of the excitement. Excitement can cause it bring on anxiety, and it cause you to have a full blown anxiety attack. And and so that's one of the myths about anxiety that people don't realize, is that it's not, anxiety doesn't just come on because of something negative. It can come on something good. And that I experience as well, because when I get really excited, when I'm really happy, I start having anxiety and I have to calm down, be like, "Woo, let me calm down." And it can take a while sometimes, to calm down, because I don't take medications for anxiety, so I have to do it all the natural way. And so it can take, a few hours to several hours to even a day or two for my for the anxiety to come all the way down. And majority of my anxiety triggers are not on something negative. It's because of something good. I could be like, if I'm studying and then I take my exam and I do really good on the exam, I get excited, I'm like, yeah! And then I have to calm myself down because, okay, excited. Ooh, ooh, I can hear good news, and see something, hear about a dear friend accomplishing something, or I can see on Facebook or on social media somebody, accomplishing something great, and anxiety can come on because I get so excited and happy for them. So I didn't realize that that was anxiety. Those were things that could trigger anxiety until I became knowledgeable about anxiety. So anxiety isn't always on something negative. Even when you're on the job and you're pursuing, you're on a task and you're working on completing this task in a certain time frame, and as you're going through this task, you're doing really good. You see that you're making positive progress. You want the time stamp that you want to be on, and it can become where you find yourself becoming overzealous, where you just be wanting to take on everything. And I used to be like that. Like I had to. I've worked on. I just started not being overzealous about a year ago because that's a hard thing to break. That is a really hard way to of being to break because I am, to be honest, I'm just naturally zealous like that. I'm a very exciting person. I love to I get excited really quick, and I'm like a little child to be, as far as how the slightest little thing can really excite a child and make a child happy. I'm like that. I'm very simple like that. Like it doesn't take much. Let's say for instance, if I'm in a relationship, I won't be as excited if a guy got me a diamond, a 12-carat diamond ring, as if he just put a sticky note when I woke up and I have a sticky note on my coffee pot or my tea kettle saying, I love you, have a great day. I will be more excited about the little sticky posty note than I would about the 12-carat diamond ring. And I'm just being realistic. It's just me, to each his or her own. So stuff like that can get me very excited real quick in a good way. So, and then I get zealous because then I'd be like, oh shoot, and I'll take that and I'll run with it. I started planning a whole life. Look, I get excited. I start designing a house. We're like, oh, we can have a house like this. And that's just me. Even when somebody have an idea or a concept or whatever, I can envision on how far it can go, and then I get excited about it, and I just start drawing and giving it, coming up with ideas and stuff that are just pop in my head. I don't do it intentionally; it just happens like that, and I get excited. That can bring on anxiety, and those are good things. Those are positive um reasons why anxiety can come on. So anxiety does not come on because of something negative all the time. That is a big myth, a huge myth. Anxiety comes on because you get too excited, and the adrenaline in your body is just going through the roof. That's why anybody who battles anxiety, a lot are not. They make the best thrill seekers. So a lot of people who has high anxiety actually are thrill seekers. I discovered that, and I actually like I love to be. I'm an adventurous person, and I like adrenaline. Like I love roller coasters. I like to skydive. I like to parasail. I like to do stuff like that. I know I'm a little crazy like that. I like to do bungee jumping. It all depends on where the bungee jumping off of and stuff, and what's underneath and how high I'm at. Now I do have restrictions with it. I ain't crazy. Hey, but I have to be in a complete controlled environment, where everything is padded up. I ain't gonna be out in the wilderness, out in the opening somewhere where there's rocks and cliffs and stuff at the bottom or on the side where I may swing into and hit one of them, or being how people jump off them bridges. That I ain't doing that. I ain't doing no bunny jumping, jumping off no dang on freaking bridge. I'm not doing that. No. But I'm a very adventurous person for the most part. I love one of the most things things that's going to surprise you guys about me that I really love to do that's very adventurous is I love to drag race. Oh my gosh, give me a daggone Hemi, honey. Shoot, give me a stingray. Yeah. Boy, I take that bad boy on the track. It'll be on. I love the drag race. I love um race cars and stuff like that. But you guys surprised about that. I love stuff like that. Yeah. Woo, big trucks, monster trucks, racing and stuff. Yeah, but anyway, but anxiety doesn't come on just because of something negative. So that's a huge myth. And the same holds true with depression. Depression doesn't always come on because of something negative. Um, like I said, I had it growing up because unfortunately the both anxiety and depression for me did come on because of something negative. But depression also can come on just from chemical change in your body. Again, being in a car accident, having an injury on the job, you know, for women, pregnancy, even men and women, as we become older and we go through the change, as they call it, menopause and or whatever, we can start having anxiety and depression because of the chemical change in our bodies. And as we get older, our bodies do change and stuff. And that's why it's important for us, especially as we get older, to definitely do as much holistic and natural stuff as possible if you're not already doing it. I'm so grateful that God taught me to do this a long time ago, that I was raised on natural remedies. I was raised on natural stuff, natural food. I'll go to the garden, you pick food and, fruits, vegetables, whatever. We didn't have to always go to this market to buy stuff. We were able to plant it ourselves. Our potatoes, sweet potatoes, it didn't matter, peppers, corn, okra, collard greens, cabbage, excuse me, chard, beets. We planted all of that, we grew our own stuff. So I grew up, on natural stuff, carrots, all of that. So I'm grateful that I was taught that as a child, even with chickens, cage-free chicken eggs and stuff like that. So drawing water from the well, chopping wood, cast iron stoves and ovens. I mean, like I was really embodied with that as a child. So I had that up under my belt growing up. So that is a great benefit because it wasn't hard for me to transcend into a holistic lifestyle for the most. Well, I it's not completely holistic. I'll put my lifestyle is at least 70% holistic. Okay, so I'm going to be realistic about that. 70% realistic, um, because even though that's healthy, as healthy as it is, my body still, I have issues that certain natural foods and herbs and spices, my body have a reaction to, like a really negative reaction, and it can cause my body to go into shock and cause me to go into a coma. It can cause me to have a complete whole seizure, like I can break down and just my body would just completely give out. All the strength in my body was zapped. So even eating, yes, eating natural holistic foods, certain stuff that are natural and holistic causes my body to respond that way. So just because it's natural and it's holistic and it's organic doesn't necessarily mean that you won't have a negative response to it. Even just drinking water, whether it's alkaline water or not, my body still sometimes, a lot of times, have a negative response to me just drinking water. It can make me sick and I go regurgitated and everything, right? From water, who does that? Who body does that? But I can drink tea and tea don't bother me. Like I'm drinking, I made my natural tea. This is 100% pure ginger. Um, and I made it with the ginger, natural 100% ginger, green tea, and my lemon and my lime, my allspice, and my clove. And I don't have no problem when I drink this. It doesn't bother me in any form or fashion. But if I drink water, say if I drink some water, I would start feeling nauseated. I would get sick and my stomach would get sour. I would get real weak and lightheaded. I don't understand what that is. My dietitians and nutritionists, my PCP, they don't understand what's going on either. My rheumatologist, they know that it has something to do with the lupus, and because I didn't start having that problem until I became start having lupus, and that's when things started changing. And I got the lupus because of a car accident. When my antibodies got completely thrown out of whack. So that's why I'm saying, like, certain things like depression and anxiety can also come from something that you didn't do anything to contribute to, or it's not because you had a rough childhood or something bad or horrific had happened to you, as far as like, you know, somebody abused you or whatever. It can just be things that happen in life. You get becoming older. Just even sometimes in your diet, just having a poor diet can cause you to have depression. Um, Having a baby can cause you to have depression, and not even just with the woman, but the men go through it too, emotionally and psychologically as well, if depending on the unity and the closeness and bond that man may have with the child and or with you. They can start having those same post-traumatic postpartum depression symptoms as well. So depression is and anxiety does not come on because of traumatic. It's only because of traumatic experiences that people may have experienced in their life. Because that is a huge myth, and I want everybody to really hear me when I say that that is one of the biggest myths out there. Depression, anxiety can also come on by good things that happen to you in life because you get too excited. because you got married, you have birth, you have the woman had a child. It can cause depression, it can cause a lot of anxiety, it can cause a lot of things. And then even with the men having, especially if he's a first time father, he can start having anxiety too, because he has this life that he has to see about, and he got this wife he has to see about. He has these responsibilities, and just that itself, even though it's from something that's good, it can cause anxiety, and that's not good. The anxiety isn't good, but having the wife and the children is a good thing. So even with the woman now becoming a wife, and now she's pregnant, now she's going to be a wife and a mother, and have these have those kind of responsibilities can bring on anxiety. So even though it was the anxiety came more from good things that happened, is it can still bring on anxiety, and it can also bring on depression on both the man and the woman. So don't let nobody lie to you and make you feel like um, having anxiety or and depression is because you are mentally ill. You're not mentally ill. You just need a mental health checkup. It's no difference than somebody who has sugar diabetes or heart disease or have high blood pressure, and it needs to be regulated through medications and through treatments. It's the same way with anxiety and with depression. It is a mental health issue. It's not a mental illness. Again, it is not a mental illness. Can they lead up to mental illnesses? Yes, they can lead up to mental illnesses, but their anxiety and depression itself are not mental illnesses. So don't I really wish people would educate themselves and stop just throwing stuff out there when they don't understand the difference. Again, examples of mental illnesses is someone who's psychoschizophrenic, someone who's bipolar, someone who has personality disorders, multiple personality disorders that has a form of CDO, what's that, compulsive disorders. They have CD, I just say compulsive disorders, because there's different types of compulsive disorders, obsessional compulsive obsession disorder. So COD. They have COD. I have a form of COD as well, where I do things very repetitiously and I don't intentionally do it, but I do. So that part is a mental illness. But mental illnesses are not the same as mental health issues. It's no different than having a physical health issue. When it's a physical health issue, they don't say, "Oh, you got a physical," they don't call a physical health issue like a stomach, just a basic stomach ache or something, a disease, right? So, or permanent illnesses. So you can't say that someone who has depression or anxiety has a mental illness. No, it is just a mental health condition that needs to be regulated and that needs to be monitored and treated just like any kind of physical health issue that someone has. It just needs to be medicated and treated. But if you wait too long, it's like anything. You don't treat it right away, or you don't know that you have it. You're not aware that that's what's going on, and it goes on for so many years. Like with me, it can become where it's almost like a permanent thing, and it doesn't matter what kind of medications you're on and what kind of herbs you're eating and spices you eat, what kind of holistic change it to a complete holistic lifestyle, meditating, praying, whatever. It'll still just a lot of times stay there and be there, because I know with me, um it's just here, and I've learned to accept it, and I learned to live with it, and manage it to the best of my ability, where it doesn't consume me to the point where I have to be hospitalized from for chronic depressions and or anxiety, um and having anxiety attacks regularly and stuff like that. So I really do a lot of praying and meditation. That's why I don't let people stress me. When people try to play mind games, or they try to start drama and stuff, I don't deal with it. I mean, I never been like that even beforehand, but if I know that someone is intentionally trying to be a jerk, or they intentionally trying to stress me, or they're doing stuff that they know is wrong, I'm not going to deal with people like that. I'm quick to turn people off. I used to not be able to do that, but I have learned to just shut people completely off. And a lot of I've heard people say, "Oh, you never should close people completely out your life because you never know if you may need them again." And I do understand that, but at the same time, you don't let people stress you and vex you either. You don't let people put you in a hospital. You don't let people cause you to have a stroke or aneurysm or heart attack because they put so much pressure and stress on you and anxiety on you. You don't allow people to do that, whether it's your employer or not. Do you know how many jobs I've had? I've had so many jobs. I'm like Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry's like, you thought how many jobs he don't have? Like seriously, because you can't let people just treat you any kind of way. And we, y'all gotta understand, we live in a very bullying nation. This nation, the United States, is bullies. It was designed. It was the laws and rules and regulation was created by bullies, and that's it's a bully mentality in this nation, and we understand that. That's why they don't take bullying as serious. They really don't. They talk about it, but they don't really take bullying serious. They what they do is the person who's being bullied, they they get more upset at that person and will tell that person that they're weak, and that they just need to get tough, toughen up just to accommodate the bullying and the bullies, right? That's the kind of nation that we live in. So, people are learning, have learned from their leaders of this nation. Not saying that it makes it right because you still know right from wrong, whether you're a child or not, you know right from wrong, no better than bullying people and hitting on people and treating people any kind of way. So, it's an individual choice. But yeah, anxiety and depression is the biggest myth is that it comes from something that is negative and that is bad and that it is a mental illness. It is not that they are not mental illnesses, and they do not always become triggered because of a negative event that you experience in your life. So I just wanted to clarify that and let people know, because me myself who battles them both, I understand. And this is something that I live. I've been living since childhood. So I know the difference. I truthfully know the difference. So if anybody have any input that they want to share, any input in any advice or any knowledge that they have that they would like to share, please just post it as a comment. Um, you know, because there's a lot of people that's around here battling anxiety and depression, and they're being treated like they have mental illnesses, or by family and friends and loved ones, and also depending on the medical team or medical institutions in their city, or that they go to, depending on how educated those doctors and nurses and staffs are about mental illnesses versus mental health. So if you have people who are not educated on the difference between mental illness and mental health, they'll be treating your anxiety and depression like it's a mental illness, give you drugs and stuff that is supposed to be for people who has bipolar disorder, that's psychoschizophrenic, and that has multiple personality disorders. That does not help your anxiety and your depression. It actually makes it worse. It makes you become mentally ill, to be honest. That's what it does. It does not help you to avoid becoming mentally ill. It actually makes you become mentally ill. So we got to understand those differences when it comes to that. And again, if you're not taught and if you don't know better, then what else can you do if you don't know? You don't know, you just don't know. But I did want to make sure that I shared that with you guys, and give open up a little bit, give you guys a little insight, because a lot of people are really going through a lot, especially after the COVID, well, with the COVID and the restrictions and the variables that are coming with the COVID. They have different variables now, and some people just cannot take the vaccine. Me personally, even if I could, I wouldn't. I cannot take the vaccine because of allergies and my chronic health issues that I have. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, but it fights antibodies. Chronic illnesses are not, and diseases, those are not just an autoimmune issue. And I don't know why people think that, because again, people are miseducated and they don't do their own research. And even some doctors are not as educated. There's been many times that I've had to educate so-called doctors. Even though I'm not a medical professional, I didn't go to school for medicine, whatever, but I know my body. I know my body better than anybody else. I live in this body. I have had this body all my life. And I know if something is or is not right with my body, my mind, my spirit, whatever. I can tell, I can feel it, even if I cannot verbalize it, even if I can't articulate what's going on, even if I don't know the correct medical terminologies or whatever, I still know that something is going on in my body that is not what this doctor or that doctor, that specialist is telling me that's going on. So sometimes you got to, pretty much be your own doctor and just use your common sense and wisdom when it comes to things like that, because a lot of these some doctors, they don't like for you to tell them what's wrong and what's not wrong with you. They take offense to it. They take it personal. So when you deal with something like that, you have these kind of attitudes, then what else can you do? You got to make sure that the doctors and therapists and counselors or whatever that you use and that you reach out to are very highly educated and knowledgeable and understand the difference between mental illnesses and mental health issues, because if not, your mental health issues will become mental illnesses, and then you're going to be like, how did I even get here? Because now you want more medications, and medications that you shouldn't have even been on in the first place or should not have had to start taking. But because you was misdiagnosed and because you had incompetent doctors seeing you, they and thinking that they know more about your body and your health than you do, even though you're trying to explain to them, look, no, this is this, and they don't want to hear you and listen to you, then you're going to find yourself you're going to find yourself in a bad shape, and you don't need to be doing find yourself in a worse state if you're already battling anxiety and depression. That is not easy. It's hard. It's draining on the body. It makes you very exhausted. It makes you very lethargic and fatigued as well. So, there's a lot of components and things that come along with having anxiety and depression as it is. So you don't want to be treated for mental illnesses when you just have something that is a mental health issue that can be resolved through pretty much a diet change and probably a mild, medication like Cymbalta or something. But I won't even say Cymbalta, because Cymbalta can make you suicide and make you want to kill somebody. I used to be on it and it had me on another level. So it also depends on the grade, like how much the milligrams of it as well. So yeah, you got to be careful with those kind of things. But I thank you guys so much for watching and for your support, guys. Please make sure that you support my Gloves On campaign, advocating for those battling chronic illnesses and diseases and disabilities. If you would like to make a donation, you can. I really appreciate everybody's patronage. I do absolutely thank you so much for supporting my platform so that I can continue to spread the reality of things and do what I do, because it's just too many platforms that don't they what they do is they tell things and they say things to get views and to get likes and stuff. But I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I'm going to be realistic with you all about stuff, because a lot of things that I talk about, I have actually lived it, been through it myself. So I can tell you guys stuff based on my experiences and experiences that I've seen and know other people have gone through in certain things as well. So that's what I do. I share the information that I know, um, so that people can actually wake up and stuff and live in reality instead of living in la la land. And so you guys just go to my website, www.cheenllc.com, and you can go ahead and as soon as you go to the website, it's going to be a pop-up that says Gloves On Campaign. Just click on that button and, excuse me, sign the petition for my Gloves On campaign. I greatly do appreciate it. And if you want to make a donation, you're more than welcome to make a donation. You can make it through Cash App and or PayPal. Please use the PayPal donation button that's on the website. Do not make your donation through change.org, because again, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but they have stolen every donation that I have received. They had stolen it. and I'm still waiting for out of court settlement for them to get those donations back so that I can go and buy stuff. I'm trying to get T-shirts. I'm trying to get, promo items and stuff and paraphernalias, and I can't do it because they got my money. So, yeah, but I do appreciate you guys for your support and for tuning in and watching and supporting me in my endeavors. And again, if you want to go to the Cash App, there's the Cash App. There's my Cash App tag. And yes, I do have the business Cash App version because I am a legitimate business. And if you want to go to the PayPal, then there's my PayPal right there, PayPal me. I try to keep everything simple with by just having it either my entertainment company or with my name. Now my advocacy mission that's separate. My design business is separate too, but I do have for my entertainment business and for me as a celebrity event host and speaker and stuff. I do try to keep, even though it's undergirded under my entertainment company, I still have a separate platform for that as well. So you guys, I really do appreciate your support again, and I'm going to go ahead and do this. If you guys would like to purchase an ad on my platform, you guys are more than welcome to. And it's the prices are very reasonable, especially for what you get. So I'm going to show you guys this video, and I'll be right back. Thank you. Entertainment Networks is a multicultural and diverse world in one place, has celebrity supporters, and provides various entertainment services like branding, hosting, speaking, press kits, live interviews, and more. Just head over to www.cheenllc.com to find out more. Thank you for your support. Okay, guys, thank you so very much for your support again, and you all have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Please be safe. For all of those that's going to be going out celebrating with the All-Star weekend, please be safe and be careful. And if you're here visiting the A, please be considerate of our city. Don't come bringing your gang banging activities, your violence, your crime, criminal mindsets, and your, foolery here in, causing trouble in the state of Georgia. You're more than welcome, and we love when people come in, patronize, patron our be patronages here in Atlanta and in the state of Georgia. But at the same time, please make sure that you're not bringing crime, because we there's enough crime in every state there is without anybody bringing it to them. We got enough to deal with within our state, so we definitely don't need you guys helping out. We don't look. We good. We don't need that help. And also tonight, guys, please come by the atrium tonight. Come by the atrium tonight today and join us in our All-Star weekend celebration and bash. We're going to have NBA players there and some other celebs there. So you guys come on out and mingle and meet and greet people, okay? So you guys take care. God bless, one love, peace. And I'm out like a light if it lets me out, because sometimes they just don't let me.